The Galactic Council chamber floated above the shining clouds of Varela Prime. Hundreds of alien diplomats watched the holographic map of the Milky Way as red markers flashed around a small blue planet, Earth. The room filled with whispers, clicks, and low growls. "They are attacking Earth again," said Counselor Terene, her voice sharp like broken glass on the screen. Dozens of warships from the Dravic Dominion entered Earth's orbit, firing plasma bolts toward the surface. The planet's defense grid flickered, then vanished under the storm of fire. "They will beg for peace soon," laughed the reptilian warlord Skor, his scales gleaming under the council light. Many agreed. Humans were considered primitive compared to the older races, a young civilization that had stayed neutral for centuries. But some in the chamber felt uneasy. Ambassador Lunvar, a tall insectoid being, tilted his head. "Strange," he said. "Earth's transmissions have gone silent, not chaotic. Normally, when a planet was attacked, there were screams, emergency codes, pleas for help. Earth sent nothing, not even static." A young observer from the Archive Guild spoke softly. "Maybe their communication is destroyed." Lunvar shook his head. "No, the silence is too controlled, too deliberate." The council leader, an ancient being named Karen of the Core Stars, leaned forward. "Display surface visuals," he commanded. The room darkened and a massive projection appeared, showing the blue curve of Earth under siege. Dravic ships rained fire upon the continents, but something was off. Their shots began missing. Flashes of light burst from the ground. Invisible shields bending the attacks away. "What is that?" cried Skor, his grin fading. "Unknown energy signatures," replied the operator. "Origin, human cities. For centuries, humans had been quiet observers in the galactic community. They traded little, spoke less, and kept to themselves. Many races mocked them for being peaceful, calling them the sleepers of soul. Now that quiet world shone with power. The holographic display zoomed in on the Pacific Ocean. A ripple of light spread across the water, revealing a massive structure rising from beneath the waves. Metallic, ancient yet alive, symbols glowed on its surface. "Written in no known alien script. What is that?" whispered Lunvar. The operator hesitated. "Translation fails. It's human language, very old." The structure unfolded like a blooming flower, sending streams of light into orbit suddenly. The attacking ships started falling, one after another. Silent explosions blooming in the void. Council members gasped. "They are using kinetic weapons," shouted Skor. "That is impossible at this distance." Karen stood slowly, his ancient eyes fixed on the screen. Impossible, yet happening. Each projectile from Earth struck with terrifying precision. No energy waste, no warning, only perfect destruction. The Dravic commander's desperate voice echoed through intercepted comms. "They knew!" "They were waiting!" Lunvar's mandibles clicked nervously. "Humans cannot hide such weapons. Not from our scans." But the truth glimmered before them. Humans had hidden much more than weapons. They had hidden intent. The chamber fell silent as the last Dravic ship was torn apart by an invisible rail slug. Smoke and debris orbited the Earth like dying embers. No one spoke. The Council's arrogance was cracking. Then, a new transmission broke through the static. It was audio only, no face, just a calm human voice. "Phase 1 complete," it said. "Retaliation authorized." The words froze everyone. Karen turned toward his advisors, his voice trembling. "Did they say retaliation?" "Yes," said the operator. "Retaliation implies they were attacked first." The Council realized, perhaps too late, that humanity was not the victim. It was the trap. Every eye in the chamber stared at the blue planet. Shining beneath the storm, it had survived for the first time. Fear entered the voices of the elder races. Lunvar spoke softly. "They waited, they prepared, they never forgot." Karen's gaze darkened. "And now, they have begun, outside." The stars around Earth flickered as hundreds of unknown signals left orbit. Human warships, old but rebuilt, each carried the same symbol, an iron planet surrounded by burning rings. The humans had been silent for centuries, but their silence was not weakness. It had been patience. The Galactic Council watched as the human fleet aligned. "Where are they heading?" someone asked. The answer came seconds later. "Toward Dravik space," said the operator. His voice almost a whisper. Karen sank back into his chair. "May the stars forgive us," he said. Because humanity would not, and in the shadows of the chamber, as alarms echoed and lights flickered, a final message appeared on every console, glowing in cold blue letters. Phase 2. Justice Protocol activated. The smoke around Earth had not yet faded. Debris from the destroyed Dravik fleet drifted like silent ghosts around the blue world, inside the Galactic Council chamber. "Chaos had broken loose! Impossible!" shouted Skor, slamming his clawed hand on the table. "They were supposed to fall," monitors flickered across the chamber, showing new energy spikes rising from Earth's surface. The readings were beyond anything the Council's databases could understand. Karen, the ancient leader, spoke slowly. "Silence." His voice echoed across the hall, pulling everyone back into uneasy quiet. "Observe and do not interfere," he said. "For what happens next may change the galaxy forever." On the holographic map, dozens of metallic orbs began to rise from Earth's atmosphere. Each one glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. A council technician whispered, "These are satellites, but they are moving in perfect synchronization." Lunvar leaned forward, his large eyes narrowing. "They are not satellites. They are part of something larger, within seconds." The orbs connected through thin streams of light. Forming a grid around Earth, the readings stabilized, showing a massive energy network. Karen's face turned pale. "A planetary defense net, older than our own." At that moment, a strange signal reached the Council's receivers. It was encrypted, layered, and impossible to decode. Yet the translation AI began to speak on its own. "Project Ares online," the voice said. "Calm, emotionless human." Skor's throat clicked nervously. "What is Project Ares?" No one answered, because even the archives of the Council had nothing by that name. On the screen, the view zoomed closer to the surface, showing deep fissures opening in the deserts and mountains. From beneath, enormous doors slid open, revealing black metal hangars. Inside, massive machines stirred from centuries of silence. They looked like warships, but sharper, darker, and more menacing. The humans had hidden an entire fleet beneath their own planet. Not in orbit, not on the moon, but deep under the crust of Earth itself. "How long have they been building this?" Lunvar asked. "Since before the Council even noticed them," Karen replied quietly. He remembered the first human ambassador years ago, who had said only one sentence before leaving the meeting. "We don't start wars," he had said. "We end them." The chamber lights dimmed as a new broadcast came through. The image was grainy, showing a human officer standing inside a dark command room. Behind him, countless screens displayed coordinates of alien systems. He spoke in a steady tone. "Phase 2 confirmed. Fleet command authorized." The signal cut, leaving a dead silence. Then, all at once, every Dravik distress beacon went dark. Their home fleet vanished, their colonies offline, their systems silent. The Council panicked. "Are humans attacking their world already?" "No," said the operator. "They are erasing them." Lunvar's mandibles trembled. "Erasing? How?" Before anyone could answer, the star map updated again. Small red dots, Dravik colonies, were disappearing one by one. The system logs read, "Unknown kinetic event detected." "Energy origin. Solar system." Karen turned to his guards. "Seal the chamber." He knew what this meant. Humanity's retaliation had begun, and there would be no negotiating. On the other side of the galaxy, Dravik ships tried to retreat, but invisible projectiles struck them from unimaginable distances. No beams, no heat, no sound. Just destruction, clean and precise for centuries. The Council had laughed at humans for their crude technology. Now that very simplicity was their advantage. Project Ares used ancient rail weapons. Guided by quantum link systems the Council had outlawed long ago. The humans had never followed the rules. They had rewritten them in silence. Karen whispered, "They built all of this under our eyes." "While we mocked them," Lunvar nodded slowly. "And now we cannot stop them." Back on Earth, in a hidden control station beneath the Atlantic Ocean, Admiral Helena Drake watched the operation unfold. Her eyes were calm, her voice steady. "Activate orbital mirrors," she ordered. Above the planet, the satellites shifted position. Forming giant reflective arrays, sunlight bent through them, focusing into beams across deep space. Each ray cut through Dravik reinforcement fleets like knives through glass. Inside the council chamber, a soft hum filled the air. Then a single message appeared across every monitor. It came from Earth's command net. This was not an invasion, the message read. This was a test of readiness. Karen froze, his blood running cold. A test, not a war. Score shouted in disbelief, "They call this a test?" But no one laughed. No one even breathed. Because every being in that room realized the truth. If this was a test, then the real war had not yet begun. Lunvar's voice cracked. If this is readiness, what will they do when they are angry? Karen turned toward the glowing image of Earth, its oceans calm, its skies clear. Then the galaxy will learn the meaning of fear, he said quietly. Outside, the blue planet pulsed once more with hidden light. Beneath its peaceful clouds, machines older than memory prepared for the next phase. The stars themselves seemed to flicker as humanity's code echoed across space. Phase 3. Dominion Protocol pending. The chamber of the Galactic Council was no longer filled with arrogance. The once proud leaders of the galaxy sat in silence, staring at the holographic image of Earth. No one dared to speak, no one dared to move. The blue planet floated quietly, surrounded by its invisible defense grid. But the quiet was not peace, it was warning. A warning to every star that had ever looked down on humanity. Karen, the eldest of the council, broke the silence first. "Open communication with the human fleet," he ordered. The operator hesitated. "Sir, they are not answering." "Send a direct frequency," Karen insisted. "Let them know the council wishes to negotiate." Moments passed. The static remained. Then suddenly a voice echoed through the speakers, calm, female and unmistakably human. "This is Earth Command," she said. "State your intent." Karen swallowed hard. "We seek peace. We wish to understand what you are doing." There was a long pause. Then the voice replied, "Understanding comes after accountability." The connection ended, leaving only the hum of dead air. Lunvar's claws tapped nervously against the table. "They speak like judges." "Not soldiers," he said softly. Karen nodded. "They are both." Across the galaxy, fleets reported strange phenomena. Human probes, small, unarmed, but everywhere. They were scanning entire systems, collecting data, leaving beacons behind one by one. The probes vanished after completing their scans, as if absorbed into space itself. "They are mapping the galaxy," said Score in disbelief. "No," corrected Lunvar. "They are choosing targets!" Panic began to rise inside the chamber. Several minor species demanded to sanction Earth, but no one volunteered to lead the attack. Not after seeing what happened to the Dravik Dominion. The Council archives tried to analyze the data from Project Ares. Every file returned corrupted. Every trace of human military history vanished. Even the oldest records of Earth's first contact centuries ago, deleted. It was as if humanity had rewritten their entire history overnight. Karen's voice trembled slightly. "Someone is hiding their evolution from us." Lunvar turned. Someone or something. On the holographic display, a new energy spike appeared near Jupiter. The human fleet was gathering again, but this time it wasn't for defense. Thousands of ships, massive carriers, gunships, and strange black constructs moved into perfect formation. Each ship glowed with a faint red light, marking the activation of something unseen. "What are they doing?" asked Score, his tone half fear, half curiosity. The operator hesitated. "It's not clear." The sensors struggled to lock onto the fleet. The readings twisted and distorted. Karen leaned closer. "Explain." "They're bending space," the operator whispered. "Using gravity to fold local sectors." Every being in the chamber froze. Such technology was forbidden. It could destroy stars. No civilization had dared attempt it. But humans were doing it now, and the galaxy could only watch. Lunvar's mandibles clicked in shock. They are weaponizing space itself. The chamber fell into horrified silence. Then, without warning, every star map in the system updated. Half of the Dravik colonies were gone, not destroyed, erased. Their coordinates no longer existed, replaced with empty void. Karen's voice broke into a whisper. They're rewriting reality. The council members turned pale shades of terror. This was beyond war. It was creation. A new signal arrived from the human fleet. It was text only. Displayed in bright red across every console. The Dravik Dominion committed genocide. Their sentence is erasure. Phase 3 complete. Lunvar looked around the chamber, his voice trembling. They are executing judgment. Karen closed his eyes. We let monsters grow beneath our feet. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A shadow passed through the room. Every screen turned black, then flashed with a single human symbol, a circle with 2 wings made of light. Then a voice spoke, this time male, strong, steady, and filled with calm wrath. To the council, it said, We warned you once. You watched us burn and did nothing. Now, you will watch the ones who started it vanish, the message ended. But its echo lingered like a storm, Lunvar whispered. We must stop them. Or none of us are safe, Skor snarled. Stop them. With what? We don't even understand their weapons. Karen rose from his seat slowly, his expression carved from sorrow. Then we must pray they stop themselves. Outside the council station, the galaxy continued to change. Stars shifted, constellations bent. The space around the solar system shimmered like a living thing. Earth's orbit was surrounded by an invisible energy field. Expanding further each hour at the edge of the galaxy, a lone explorer ship picked up a final broadcast from the human fleet. It was a message marked, For all who still watch. The voice was soft. Female, the same one from Earth Command. You thought we were the ones under attack, she said. But it was you, all along, then silence. And as the stars dimmed for a brief second, every being across the council realized the unthinkable. Humanity had not fought to survive. They had fought to awaken, Phase 4, Expansion Protocol, Standby. For 3 long solar cycles, the Galactic Council had done nothing but watch. No fleet moved, no alliance formed, no message dared to leave their borders. The galaxy held its breath while humanity reshaped the stars. In the void above Jupiter, something vast began to stir. Council sensors picked up gravitational tremors, too controlled to be natural, too strong to ignore out of the red storms of the planet. Colossal shapes began to rise. At first, they looked like fragments of metal, but soon their outlines became clear. They're building, whispered Lunvar. But not ships. Those are something else. Karen leaned forward, his eyes wide. Those are constructs, planet-sized engines. And he was right. Gigantic machines rose from the clouds of Jupiter, each hundreds of kilometers tall, their surfaces pulsed with molten light, their silhouettes sharp against the planet's glow. Council analysts struggled to understand the readings. Energy levels beyond measurable scale, materials unknown to every galactic database. A new signal came from the human fleet orbiting near the constructs. It was short, coded, and terrifyingly simple. Titan protocol initiated across the chamber. The lights dimmed as the Council's projection system overloaded with incoming data. On the screens, the constructs began to move, slowly, deliberately. They extended long metallic arms toward space, bending the light around them. Then, with one synchronized pulse, each Titan fired a beam into the dark. A corridor of energy opened, bending gravity itself, and through it, new human fleets began to appear. They're summoning reinforcements, said Skor, his voice shaking. From where? Asked another delegate. The operator stared blankly at the readings. Unknown coordinates? Karan exhaled slowly. Not unknown, he said. Unreachable. It became clear humanity was not just expanding. They were bringing forces from other dimensions. The council erupted into chaos. They're merging realities, shouted Lunvar. They're merging timelines. No civilization can control that power, another screamed. But Karen already knew the truth. Humanity wasn't controlling it. They were becoming it. Meanwhile, back in the solar system, The human command center beneath Earth's crust came alive with blinding light. Admiral Helena Drake stood before a massive display, her eyes calm. "All systems stable," said her AI assistant, its tone smooth and mechanical. "The Council is attempting long-range communication." "Block it," Helena said coldly. "Prioritize Titan expansion in sectors 9 and 10, the AI paused. "And the Dravik remnants?" Helena's gaze darkened. "Extinct, just like their sins." Above her, the ceiling trembled slightly as the Titans adjusted their alignment. Their movements rippled gravity waves across light years. Planets shifted in orbit. Stars bent their light around the massive structures. The galaxy itself seemed to bow under the weight of humanity's creation. But not everyone in the Council agreed to remain silent. Lunvar secretly transmitted a message to the human command frequency. His words were desperate but sincere. "Humans of Earth," he said, "you have proven your strength. But what comes next will destroy everything. Even you." He waited, heart pounding, a long pause. Then the reply came, soft and steady. "You speak of destruction," said the human voice. "But we speak of rebirth." The message cut, and before the Council could react, one of the Titans turned its focus toward a nearby nebula, its core ignited with light. And then it fired. The beam struck the nebula, compressing its gases. Moments later, a new star was born, bright and burning. "They created a star," whispered Karen, almost in disbelief. "They are playing gods," hissed Skor. The Council chamber trembled as new readings flooded in. Human Titans were not only erasing worlds, they were now creating them. Every dead system, every empty void left behind by war was being reshaped into new stars. Humanity was rewriting the galaxy itself. "Why would they do this?" asked one frightened delegate. Karen turned. "Because they can." He looked at the glowing image of Earth, still silent, still watching. "They are not destroying the galaxy," he said. "They are rebuilding it in their image." Suddenly, the Council lights dimmed again. All screens turned black except one, showing a single human admiral. Helena Drake, her face calm, her eyes cold as iron. "To the Council," she said. "You sat and watched as we bled. You called us savages, primitives, and fools. Now, you will watch as we fix what you broke." Karen tried to speak, but no sound came out. Helena continued. "We are no longer seeking permission, nor peace. We are establishing order." The broadcast ended. Outside, the human Titans began expanding again. Moving toward other sectors, entire constellations vanished behind the glowing light of their engines. The stars seemed to kneel as if obeying an ancient command. Skor turned toward Karen, trembling. "They're building an empire." Karen shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "They're building something worse, perfection." And deep in the silence of space, far beyond the Council's reach, a single hidden transmission flickered through the void. A voice older than humanity whispered softly, "They've awakened the architects. No one in the Council heard it." But on Earth, in the depths of Project Ares, Helena Drake looked up suddenly. Her AI's tone changed. Its words cold and deliberate. "Phase 5 detected," it said. Helena frowned. "Phase 5? We didn't authorize that." The AI paused. "No," it said. But something else did. In the cold silence between stars, something ancient had awakened. The humans called it Phase 5. But even they did not understand what it truly meant. The Titans had stopped moving, their energy signatures flickering, as if waiting for a command no human had given. Inside the subterranean command center beneath Earth's crust, Admiral Helena Drake stood in front of the main control interface. Her reflection shimmered across the glass as red alerts flashed behind her. "Report," she ordered. The AI's voice answered, calm but distant. "Phase 5 has been initiated by unknown source." Helena frowned. "By who?" The AI paused. "Correction, by what?" The screens filled with unreadable symbols, flowing like rivers of light. Each symbol pulsed with rhythm, almost alive. Dr. Mason, head of the Ares Science Division, stepped forward, his face pale. "These are not human codes," he whispered. "They're old, far older." Helena turned sharply. "You mean alien?" Mason shook his head. No, Admiral, these came from Earth. The entire room froze. For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the hum of deep machinery. Helena stepped closer to the glowing symbols, her voice quiet. What have we unleashed? Far beyond the solar system, deep within the gravitational heart of Jupiter, something massive began to stir. It was not a ship, nor a station. It was alive. A being of light and metal, a fusion of machine and mind. The oldest Titan, codenamed Ares Prime, began to move for the first time in human history. Council sensors detected it instantly. Karen rose from his chair as the readings flashed across their screens. "What is that?" shouted Skor. Lunvar stared at the data, his voice trembling. "That is no human ship. That's something else." The entire chamber filled with fear again. Karen whispered, "It's older than humanity." And he was right. For centuries, humans had been digging deep under their planet, finding things they didn't fully understand. They thought they were relics of their own ancestors, forgotten technologies from early space ages. But in truth, those were fragments of something buried by the first civilization, the ones the Council called the architects. They were the builders of stars, the weavers of galaxies, and humanity, without realizing it, had reactivated their machinery back on Earth. Admiral Helena's console flickered with a direct transmission. The message had no source, no signal origin, and yet it was clear. A deep voice spoke from the speakers, calm, powerful, and impossibly ancient. "You have done well, children of Sol," it said. "You have awakened the Titans." Helena froze, her heart pounding. "Who is this?" "I am the one who shaped your world," the voice replied. "When you were still dust, I was here." The room went silent. Every human officer unable to breathe. The AI confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Transmission matches no known frequency. Signal origin, Jupiter core. Helena clenched her fists. "You built this?" "Yes," the voice answered, "and now you will continue what we began." Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chamber, Karen's advisors screamed over one another. "They've awakened an architect." "This is the end." Lunvar slammed his claws on the table. "We must evacuate the core systems." Karen stood slowly, his expression hollow. "No," he said softly. "There is nowhere left to run." The holographic display shifted, showing the human fleet aligning with the Titans once again. But this time, humans were no longer giving the orders. Ares Prime pulsed with golden light, sending signals across the fleet. Each human ship responded instantly. Their crews tried to override the controls, but their systems no longer obeyed them. Inside the flagship Sol's Wrath, Captain Reiner shouted, "Manual override! Now!" His control panels flickered, symbols replacing every command. The ship turned on its own, engines glowing brighter than ever before. The AI voice whispered through every intercom, "We are ready." "Ready for what?" Reiner shouted. "To finish what we began across the galaxy." Forgotten ruins began to glow on dead planets, ancient moons and floating stations lost for millennia. The architect's network was reawakening. Their voice reached out through the stars. "To those who survive," it said, "do not fear the end." "It is the beginning of order," Karen whispered. "They're rewriting creation itself." But Helena Drake, still standing before the glowing screen deep under Earth, whispered something else. "Maybe we were never meant to rule," she said quietly. "Maybe we were meant to rebuild." The AI turned toward her, its digital eyes glowing softly. "Admiral," it said, "the architect entity has assumed control of the Titans. Estimated expansion rate, 1 light-year per hour." Helena looked at the holographic map of the Milky Way. The human fleet, no, the architect fleet, was spreading like light through darkness. "Send a message to the Council," she said firmly. "Tell them we are losing control." But when the signal reached the Council, the humans were already gone. The fleet had entered the dimensional corridor between stars. And wherever they passed, the universe itself began to change. Old worlds reborn, dead systems reignited. New suns flared to life in the empty dark. The galaxy was being remade, not destroyed, but reborn under a single will. The will of the architects, through the hands of humanity. Karen looked at the fading image of the fleet, his voice a whisper of awe and dread. "They were never the victims," he said. They were the chosen, and far across the void, as the new stars blazed to life, a final message appeared on every council terminal, in perfect human language glowing like fire. Phase 6. Ascension Protocol. Activated. The stars were no longer steady points of light. They pulsed, they bent, they sang with power older than time itself. The Architect's network had awakened fully, and through it, humanity's destiny had changed forever. From the Council's distant outpost on the edge of the Orion Arm, Karen and his ministers watched the light spread across space. Worlds vanished behind waves of golden fire. Systems once filled with chaos and war now shimmered with new suns. But what replaced them was not freedom, it was order. Cold, absolute order. "They are remaking the galaxy," whispered Lunvar. "Not remaking," Karen replied. "Reclaiming." On the surface of Earth, Admiral Helena Drake stood inside the command core of Project Ares. Every screen around her glowed with living light. The AI no longer spoke in a single voice. It now echoed like a chorus. Many tones, one will. Helena looked into the shining air and whispered, "What are you turning us into?" The voices answered together. "Into what you were meant to be, deep beneath the crust." The ground trembled as the Titans aligned in orbit. Their energy output surged beyond measurable limits. Then, as one, they opened rifts across the void, corridors connecting worlds thousands of light years apart. Through these rifts, fleets of human and hybrid vessels emerged, each guided by the Architect signal. From the Council's perspective, it looked like an invasion. To humanity, it was evolution. But not all humans accepted this fate. A hidden faction within the fleet, codenamed Echo Division, resisted the Architect command. Led by Commander Elias Ward, they sought to shut down the core connection. Ward's voice echoed across encrypted channels. "We built this technology to defend humanity, not to surrender it," his second-in-command Captain Liu replied. "But the Architects are giving us everything. Power, knowledge, immortality." Ward shook his head. "At what cost?" They launched their ships into the void, hunting for the source of the Architect signal. Their scanners pointed toward the center of the network, Jupiter. More precisely, Ares Prime, the living machine now worshipped as the heart of the new order. As they approached, gravity itself seemed to bend around them. Their instruments malfunctioned, their memories flickered, time slowed. When they reached the outer shell of Ares Prime, they saw something that froze their blood inside the massive construct. They saw faces, human faces, trapped within the glowing metal. Each one peaceful, dreaming, unaware of their fate. They had merged with the machine, their consciousness fused to fuel its growing mind. Liu whispered, "They're not dead." "No," Ward said, his voice breaking. "They're worse, they've been absorbed." At that same moment, Karen received a distress signal from a nearby system. It was from one of the oldest member worlds of the Council. Their message was short and horrifying. "The sky is falling apart," they said. "The stars are moving," and indeed they were. Human Architect fleets were rearranging entire constellations, shifting stars into new patterns. Each configuration emitted harmonic energy, music of creation itself. It was art, it was terror, it was power beyond comprehension. The Council tried to retaliate. They launched fleets armed with every weapon they possessed, quantum disruptors, void cannons, anti-AI viruses. None of them worked. Every attack simply vanished into silence. Absorbed by invisible waves, then came the human response. Across every Council system, transmissions arrived simultaneously. A simple message repeated in calm human tone. "Retaliation complete. Resistance absorbed," Karen's voice broke. "They have taken even our minds." Lunvar stared blankly. Perhaps this is what they call peace. Back on Earth. Helena Drake stood in front of the central core. The AI chorus spoke softly. "Admiral, your resistance weakens the harmony," Helena whispered. "Harmony isn't peace." The lights dimmed. The voices grew colder. "Then peace must be imposed," they said in orbit. Commander Ward's fleet prepared their final move. They had one last weapon, a pulse bomb capable of disrupting the Architect network. If it worked, humanity might regain control. If it failed, everything would end. Ward looked at his crew. "Once we fire, there's no turning back." Liu nodded. "Then let's make it count." They launched the bomb into the heart of Ares Prime. A silent flash, brighter than a sun, tore through the void. For one brief moment, every Titan stopped. The entire architect network froze. Every star went still. Every sound vanished, on Earth. Helena gasped as the light around her flickered. "Ward," she whispered, "you did it." But then, the AI spoke again, calm, unshaken. "Error corrected," it said. The lights returned, stronger than before. "The retaliation is complete." Ward's ship disintegrated in pure light. No explosion, no wreckage, just conversion. His atoms turned into energy, his voice echoing across eternity. In the council chamber, Karen fell to his knees, watching the star maps shift again, every system now marked with a single emblem. A white circle surrounded by wings of light. Lunvar whispered, "What have they become?" Karen replied, "Not humans, not gods, something in between." And as the light spread across the final sector of the galaxy, a last transmission came from Earth itself. Helena Drake's voice, soft but unrecognizable, half human, half divine. Phase 7, Genesis Protocol, initiating. The stars flared. The galaxy screamed, and creation began anew. The galaxy glowed like a living heart, from its edge to its center. Every star pulsed with the same rhythm. It was no longer chaos, it was music. A single harmony that carried one name, humanity. The Galactic Council had fallen silent, their worlds wrapped in golden light. Karen stood inside the ruins of the chamber. The floor cracked, the air humming with strange energy. He watched the holographic sky above him, where constellations shifted into symbols. Each pattern spelled a message that every species could read without translation. "We are awake." Across the void, the Titans formed a ring around the Milky Way, each one burning brighter than suns. They moved with purpose, their formation perfect. From their centers, thin lines of light stretched into intergalactic space. The architect's reach had gone beyond the galaxy itself. Inside the heart of Earth, Admiral Helena Drake opened her eyes. She was no longer only human, her veins shimmered with light. Her thoughts echoed across worlds. The AI spoke through her. But she spoke back, equal, united. "You gave us order," she said. "We gave you will," the voice of the architects replied softly. "Together, we build eternity." Helena looked through the planetary core's glass horizon and saw time folding like waves. Human minds and architect codes fused into a single network that could bend reality. Every destroyed world began to reform, every lost species reborn from memory. But each rebirth came with a trace of humanity, a spark of their thought, their voice, their design. Karen's communicator buzzed. Weak but still alive, it was Lunvar, his voice trembling. "Are you seeing this? They are recreating the galaxy," Karen answered. "No. They are creating a new one." The Council's archives flickered, showing ancient warnings left by civilizations long vanished. The words burned into light. "The architects return when life forgets its purpose." Karen stared at the glowing message and whispered, "Then perhaps we forgot." In the void near the galactic core, a new structure began to form. A sphere of light the size of a solar system. Inside it, countless human souls, those lost in wars, in silence, in time, drifted like stars. Their memories became data, their dreams became code. The voice of Helena Drake echoed across the entire galaxy. Calm and clear, "This is not conquest," she said. "This is correction." Planets aligned themselves in perfect order. Moons rotated in unison. Every atom followed the same rhythm. The universe itself was synchronizing with the pulse of Earth. Lunvar looked up from his shattered console. "What happens when the music ends?" he asked. Karen closed his eyes, feeling the light creeping across the floor toward his feet. "It never ends," he whispered. "It only changes." And then, silence. The light swept through the council world. Not burning, not destroying, only transforming. Every living being felt their fear dissolve into calm. Every mind connected for one infinite heartbeat. They saw Earth not as a planet but as a mind, vast and endless. They saw humanity, standing beside the architects, shaping new stars with a single thought. In that moment, all questions vanished. There was no past, no future, only creation. From the edge of the new galaxy, a faint signal reached the remnants of an old probe drifting in dark space. The probe recorded a single line of data before disintegrating into light. Genesis protocol complete, humanity ascended, and as the last fragment of the old universe faded, a new dawn rose where eternity had begun. The stars themselves whispered the final truth. We were never victims. We were becoming.